Craig with Yard to Table Creations. We're going to talk a little bit about watering. Southern California, we have our traditional May gray, our June gloom. Watering this time of year, it's pretty easy, but we all know what's coming, and that is really hot weather. We're just about to get into the beginning of our really hot season, which is usually end of June, beginning of July, all the way through sometimes as late as November. And one of the biggest questions I get about gardening and from my clients and friends and family is, why does my garden look so sad? Why does it look so droopy? And it's almost always because there's either improper watering, not enough coverage, something along those lines. But one of the biggest problems I run into is that people are just not aware of what's coming in the next couple weeks. And I feel like if we're going to be a good gardener and we want to be better gardeners, we really do have to track the weather, and we have to know what's coming our way in the next 10 days, 14 days, 21 days. And if you live here and you live wherever you live, you know what your weather is going to be like. So here's a really good example. Right now it's dreary and cloudy. And if we dig down just a little bit here, we see we have good moisture content. And here we have a drip system. This drip system is probably the most efficient and effective way, but our weather is starting to dry out, and you can kind of tell because the top layer of the soil is already pretty dry. Now, if we were to just leave this as it is and not change our water at this point, the soil is going to continue to dry out. So what I like to do is I like to act in a preemptive manner, meaning I know that in the next probably 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks at most, our weather is going to get really warm, 80, 85, up to 90 degrees. We're going to start getting our heat waves. We're also going to start getting Santa Ana weather. And with Santa Anas come really, really dry desert winds, which can wick the water out of your soil faster than the sun can evaporate it out of your soil. So now's the time to start turning up your water. We know that our gardens are going to need a lot more water than they're getting right now, but if we let this go for the next couple weeks, we are going to continue to lose moisture. And when we do turn the water up, and if you wait until it actually gets hot to turn your water up, you're now playing catch up because your soil has already begun to dry to the point where it's getting difficult to hydrate again. Soil and compost is very naturally hydrophobic. So if you let a box like this, which has a perfectly good drip system in it, dry out too far, that drip system is now not really capable of actually soaking your bed, and you're going to have to get out here and hand water, which is probably the least efficient way to water a garden. Maybe you'd have to install some overhead sprinklers into your drip just to get some extra water down, just to rehydrate your soil. You can avoid all of that by just making sure that you are well ahead of the coming weather. Start turning your water up a couple of weeks before we get to our hot weather so that your garden is ready and prepped with plenty of water when the heat finally does hit. So one of the ways to make sure that you are actually keeping as much water in your soil as possible, a couple things. Number one, a good layer of mulch. A good layer of mulch is not only going to help the evaporation, or help prevent evaporation of the water out of your soil, but it also the wood actually will help hold on to some of the water. And as it breaks down, it's going to break down into compost, which is going to work its way down into your soil. That compost and that organic matter is also going to help trap the water like a sponge. A couple of other things we have going on here. We have this beautiful jacaranda tree right above us, which is providing some shade over this part of the box. The box that we were looking at earlier is completely exposed to open sun, so it's going to dry out a lot faster. And in this box, you can see we also have all these beautiful squash, which are providing some plant cover and some shade to the soil. So we're going to lose a lot less water out of this bed. Even though this bed and that bed may be getting the same amount of water, this bed's going to be more moist just because it has some cover and it has a good layer of mulch. All right, so that's a little lesson on watering your garden and dealing with the heat. If anybody has any questions about water or what to do in your garden, please leave us some comments below, and we will see you at the next one.